Y'all, I am so excited. Unbox my latest MacBook with me. But before we do that, I'm going to give you a quick backstory of like why this is a big deal for me, and it is a huge accomplishment. This is the first MacBook that I'm buying that is brand new because my entire graphic design career, I've always done either used and then eventually moved on to refurbished, and then finally we're here. Right? So the first Mac that I bought, actually my first computer, was a gateway computer. That's when I was now learning design. I don't know if anybody knows of the Gateway brand or remembers the Gateway brand, but fond memories. Just my first laptop, and I didn't even know I was going to do graphics at the time, but that is where I learned Photoshop. It was a painful start because it was not built for graphic design. I was kind of slow, but it's what got me started. So it will always have a special place in my heart. Like whenever I come across, very rarely, the Gateway brand, I'm just like, oh, remember when? And then when I started working in the agency in Port of Spain, well, before I even started working there and I started design, is when I first got introduced to Mac. When I started learning graphic design, I learned on a Mac, one of those big Macs with the big towers. That was when I first started working on Mac. Then when I was working in Port of Spain, I just really fell into the Mac ecosystem, and I was like, I really need to get a Mac system. Like this PC thing not gonna work for me anymore. So just to get into the Mac ecosystem, went on eBay, got a MacBook Pro secondhand, and that was good. Like it was good because I tried a Mac Mini. It was not a good purchase. It had only 4 gigs of RAM. The thing just was not running at all. And I don't think it was just because it was 4 gigs of RAM. Something was wrong with that device. So that didn't stick around for long. Got rid of it, got the MacBook Pro. So the MacBook Pro secondhand. Then when I went full-time in my business, I had like a whole bunch of clients, projects working on at the time, and it stopped working. Repaired it, and there was another time it stopped working, and I was like, okay, this is it. It's time to move on to a new device. So I was prepared to help back on eBay and get one secondhand, or push and buy a brand new device. But just didn't have the budget. So I ended up coming across on, I think, one of those Facebook groups. I don't think it was Facebook Marketplace at the time, but there was this Facebook group where I came across someone who had a 2014 MacBook Pro, which is the one that just died. All right. But it was in immaculate condition because even though it was 2014 and we were in 2017, it was never used. It was in box, brand new, and just like never used. It was like brand new, and the price was really good. So that was a steal of a deal. So this was the latest Good Old Faithful, and I knew the time was coming where it was time to upgrade from this one, to another device. And with the history, especially as a business owner, not just as a business owner, not just as a freelancer, it's like, it's not cool when your device stops working and you don't have a backup. It's like, at this point in my career, I need to have a backup. And that was last year. So I was like, okay, I know time is coming to replace this, but I'm not going to wait till it fails on me. So that's when I started, trying to decide what the next device is going to be. And that's when I decided to invest in the iMac I'm recording on right now. And I decided to be like, I would like to buy straight from Apple. So I went the refurbished route. I think this is officially 1 year on this device and no issues so far. And I'm really happy with it. So I had made the decision that, okay, I love having the portability of this. So when I purchased the iMac, I was like, okay, I need portability, but this is working. So I will have like a dedicated, work machine for my office. And then a year from from now, by the end of next year, which is this year, I will get a MacBook Air. And I knew exactly the one that I wanted because it just came out. It was the first model that has 1080p webcam, which all these years, Mac computers only had 720p, right? So it's like, okay, that's awesome. So they have 1080p, they updated to 1080p webcam. And I loved the how Mac reverted to the boxy design. So it was ticking all of the boxes for me. So it had 1080p webcam. I love the new boxy design instead of the classic, I will call it classic, the classic MacBook Air design, which literally was like thin coming out. You know what I mean? And then what was the other thing? I loved the color. The color option, Starlight White, was just so on brand for me because I have always loved the classic silver, even when they brought out like space gray and all of these other colors. I just was not interested in any of those colors. It just didn't suit me, my brand, my aesthetic, the color scheme, everything. And it's just like, this is the perfect device for me. And I've never had a 13-inch MacBook, but that's so perfect for me in terms of portability. So I was just like, okay, if I have an iMac, I have the screen real estate with the iMac and then a 13-inch on the go, that's perfect. And in the event, now I have two devices, so that in the event that something happens, I have a backup while one is under repair, right? So that was a game plan. So I knew exactly what I wanted, the specs, everything, and that was just there. Clarity, clear as day. Then rolls around a few weeks ago, good old faithful just decided it would turn on, but there's no backlight. And I keep hearing the startup sound that Macs give, but the screen isn't coming on. At first, the screen alone wasn't coming on, but I was still getting light. And then after I shut down and turn on a couple times, no more backlight. So I have yet to carry this to get a diagnostic. And once it can repair, I will repair it. I probably pass it on to my daughter, but I'm not just abandoning it. I need to see what's wrong and if it makes sense to repair it. Once it makes sense to repair it, I will be repairing it and I'll be really happy. But I just didn't bother to rush to do diagnostics because to me it was like, oh, this is my sign. The time is now. I'm not waiting because I have been eyeing this computer for a while. So now hopped on Apple. I was like, okay, I'm going to do Apple refurbished again. But then when you add it to cart and you add on the taxes, they add on the shipping, it's mainly the taxes that's driving up the cost. So whatever I'm saving in the refurbished price is just going right back to paying taxes. So I decided, you know what? This isn't making sense to me. I love to bargain hunt. All right. So if I'm going to get the best price for something, I'm going to shop around. So as much as I really wanted to order it from Apple's website, once again, I decided to check out Amazon. And I also heard that Best Buy had a sale. So I checked out Best Buy's website. But that sale, the Macs were going like hotcakes. So even when I tried to add it to cart, it was saying it's not available. So it's not available at this location. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to check Amazon. And when I check Amazon, I was like, is this Amazon refurbished? But it's not. It's brand new. Well, obviously, no. So anyway, in searching for the 13-inch Starlight, all of the specs that I knew that I want, it so turns out that Apple released a 15-inch version. Now, I was cool with doing the 13. I would have stuck with the 13. But then for some reason, the 15-inch came out at $200 more than the price of the 13, right? For the extra screen real estate. But then 2 weeks later, they dropped the price, which is basically the same price as the 13-inch. So which one am I going to go with? I decided why would I pay the same price for a smaller screen size? As much as I love the portability, if they didn't come out with a 15, oh yeah, I would have been more than happy and content with the 13. But it was just a sign. I just felt like, okay, this is a really good steal of a deal. It's brand new. you're saving $200. The price is reduced. It's basically the same price as a 13-inch. And on Apple's website, the refurbished 13-inch is the same price as the 15 that's being sold. So I don't know. I just feel like all the stars aligned at the right time. And now it's here. And so I hope I can get this repaired. So I'm not going to say like goodbyes or anything yet, but this finally came today. So let's get into the unboxing.